What's up, everybody? Peter Tragos back, the lawyer you know, another late night chat, at least late night for me here in Florida about this Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. I kind of expected, if I'm being honest, there to be a little bit of a lull after Johnny Depp's testimony was done. I expected maybe a boring day of testimony, and I think we got a little bit of that. But overall, some very seriously good witnesses for Johnny Depp and his team. They did not lose the momentum post Johnny Depp and post House Manager testifying. They continued that momentum. And trials, I love sports. Grew up playing sports. Didn't play any collegiate sports or professional sports. Obviously, was not good enough for that. But I loved it. I love the adrenaline rush. I love the preparation. I love the game day. And I always thought trial work was a lot like sports. You prepare and you practice for the game. You've got to show up for the game. That is when it's all on the line. You can't have a bad day or a bad week or a bad game. And so much happens that momentum plays a big part, just like it does in sports, right? Momentum, Mr. Momentum, as my dad would say when I was a kid. When it switches from team to team, it's very similar in a trial. And Johnny Depp, I thought Amber Heard's team could have grabbed some of that momentum with Cross. But as we talked about in last night's video, it crashed and burned at the end, which is really funny to anybody out there that is a lawyer, has gone to law school, and they teach you a cross-examination exactly how you don't want to end a cross-examination. That's how Johnny Depp ended the cross-examination with Amber Heard's lawyers. Amber Heard's lawyer literally did the thing they teach you not to do in law school and sat down after losing multiple objections. So if you're new to our channel, thanks for jumping in and joining us here. If you haven't hit the like button already, take a second, hit the like button. People are still signing on. I'm going to get to all the testimony we talked about today. I'm going to talk about some key points and pull some things that I think are going to happen in the future in the trial. And of course, I'm going to answer a ton of your questions. I already have a few of your questions on my phone that I pulled from other videos that I do want to get to about today's testimony and about some prior days' testimony. So we're going to start with the person that manages his island, okay? She's an island girl, right? So we've got a house manager and an island manager. So when you talk about people you cross-examine or direct a lot as lawyers, and I talked about, a lot of times I'll do the medical stuff in my trial. So I'll do spine surgeons, I'll do orthopedic surgeons, I'll do radiologists, whatever it may be. And then a lot of times we'll do psychologists or psychiatrists as well. And some people I never testify or I never question are island managers and house managers, right? Yet that's what we had kind of back to back. And I thought that while she said she saw Amber drinking all the time and red wine was her drink of choice, and she didn't see Johnny Depp drink as much, he drank from time to time, that shows a little bit of bias potentially. But when she got to testifying what she saw with her eyes, that Amber would claw and grab and pull Johnny's hair viciously to keep him there when he was trying to leave, which lines up with Johnny's testimony, and that's important to have that consistency. But also, we're going to remember that line because as I typed out those notes, I realized when I typed out notes later during Dr. Curry, the psychologist that testified, she says something very similar. So that's why I thought it was a big-time win for Johnny Depp when she testified that Amber did these things, which is consistent with everybody else that's testified for Johnny. She also said that she never saw any injuries on Amber Heard ever, and she was there and with her during some of the big allegations of domestic violence. Never saw it. And I thought the cross-examiner got absolutely nothing good from this witness. You always want to get a couple of points out. MG's got a super chat here. I'll read it real quick. Why is most of mainstream press pro Amber and online seems to be mostly Johnny Depp? Well, a lot of the online people I'm listening to and talking to are lawyers or psychologists or medical professionals that are following the case and have been following for a long time. So I do think that online we have, and I've tried to kind of shy away from this and be a little bit of a different voice, but a lot of the people that are talking about it online, they've done a ton of research and they know a lot about this case that hasn't come out in trial yet. And I think they've kind of already made up their mind in favor of Johnny. I don't know about the press. I think maybe the press is still trying to ride the Me Too movement. Maybe they're afraid to come out against a female that's saying that she's an abuse victim, maybe because of her ties to the ACLU or whoever she was the voice of. I don't know. Now, there's been allegations that it's bots and, fake news or whatever, the people that are supporting Amber. I don't know. I'm just telling you the vibes I get from sitting in a lot of trials and trying a lot of cases. The vibes I'm getting are good for Johnny Depp, not for Amber Heard. I'll just say that so far. So I guess I'm part of the online community thus far, but I could still be convinced otherwise, and I still think it's a difficult legal argument. So we finished with the house manager. Again, I don't think they really got any points on cross. She was a pretty simple down the middle witness. The deal with the muffins, Jack, and I see a lot of people talking about muffins. We'll get to it when we talk about the forensic psychologist, which is where we're going now. Dr. Curry, I think was her name. Dr. Curry. A lot to say about her, and I think she was the highlight witness of the day. People are still coming on here. We've got over 1,000 people on here. Hopefully we have 1,000 likes or close to it. You guys like to keep track and let me know of that. If you guys haven't all subscribed to my page, take a second to subscribe to it. I was on Alita Legal Bites' channel today when she crossed that 100,000 subscriber mark, which is amazing and is so much fun. We're just a little channel trying to hang out with, the big channels, but I have a lot of fun with all the lawyers on there, especially her. She's awesome. Her husband's Greek, so we've got some kindred spirits there. So subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. One of my goals is during this live, it's a lot to work all day, and then come home and do a live, but it's just so much fun. And one of the things I'd like to hit during this live is 40,000 subscribers. So we're close. We're not that far away. We're, within 1,000. So if you haven't subscribed yet, go hit the subscribe button so we can try to get to 40,000. And somebody let me know if we hit that during this live. If we don't, I'll be disappointed. Somebody said we only have 14 likes. So my guess is we're nowhere near the subscriber count either, which is cool. I'm glad you guys are all here still to discuss it. So Dr. Curry, she was a striking witness. She was obviously intelligent. She was eloquent. She is easy on the eyes. She's an attractive witness. She has a good resume. But I do have some negative thoughts about her. Okay. And I am going to share them, and people can disagree with me if they want. That's why we're here. I'd like to have a discussion about it. But as I often do, you all, the people that are prospective jurors out there, Derek Watson, thank you, or Wilson, thank you for subbing. And people are saying we're almost to 400 likes. Good deal. We're getting closer now. So what do you feel, members of the jury? And I've asked this in the past. So it's a twofold question because we have a lot of new people subbed and listening to this now. How do you feel about an expert that has been paid for a specific duty in a trial? Not just a paid expert, because we went through that and most people don't care that the experts get paid. They expect them to get paid for the work that they do. And I think that's generally how it works in trials, and that's good. But I want to make some comparisons throughout the video today. I think they made these comparisons on cross-examination. I talked about them a little bit on Legal Bites. How would you compare, and who would you find to be more credible? A paid forensic expert, which basically means she's just working on this case, legally speaking. She was hired by the defense to come in, see Amber Heard for 2 days, and then give an opinion on her legally and testify about it. How would you compare that, and we'll call it a forensic expert, versus a treating expert? Okay, and a treating expert is somebody who looks at the patient, talks to the patient, does what they can to help the patient. Their diagnosis are there to try to help the patient and treat the patient, versus their diagnosis being there for a trial or for a legal reason. I'll give some pros and cons to each as you get in the chat and in the comments. A forensic expert or a treating expert, who would you give more credence to? Or it could be both, or it could be neither. Just let me know kind of what off the top of your head as a potential juror, if you were in a case like this and you had to make a call and they were saying two different things, who do you think you would feel is more objective and more credible? Now, a treating physician, they do have to rely on a lot of hearsay and subjective complaints from the patient. But in this case, the forensic expert is also looking at recordings and depositions and people's subjective statements and subjective complaints. So she's basing a lot of what she's dealing with on subjective complaints. The treating physician is being paid to treat the patient. The forensic expert is being paid by the legal team to give them a legal opinion. And they're almost always going to come up with the legal opinion that they want. There's a reason they chose them and paid them. So again, this is something that happens in just about every case. And I really just want to know what you guys think. And it's funny because I'm sure the votes will be overwhelmingly in favor of forensic because a lot of people support Johnny Depp on here, and that's fine. My guess is we're going to have a forensic expert for Amber Heard as well. And I really think this depends on the expert and depends on the case potentially. So I would like to hear, I would say I usually lean toward the treating physician because they may never be called to testify. They don't care if they're going to testify. It has nothing to do with being in court. So they're making all of their decisions from a more pure state of mind than a forensic expert, in my opinion. It doesn't mean forensic experts are paid and they lie. I don't mean that at all because I don't think that. We have forensic experts all the time. Just kind of how I look at it, but I'm sure the chat will disagree and say forensic because she was there for Johnny Depp today. But that's okay. And again, the jury may be feeling the same way you do, which is why I ask you and why you guys are the experts when it comes to what the common person would think in a jury trial. So let's get to some of what Dr. Curry said. Again, I think her credentials were great. And I think her testimony was potentially the most damning testimony for Amber Heard that I've heard throughout this entire trial. She said that she diagnosed her with borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder. I didn't write down the second one, so I may be misstating that. But the borderline personality disorder is what we talk about most of the time with her. She talked about the journals that she got it from, and she basically was able to testify that people with this disorder are more likely to shift and externalize blame, have internal rage, be self-centered and narcissistic, be manipulative, be very needy of attention and acceptance, distance people from who are close to them. Initially, they can be very charming and socially sophisticated. Who does this sound like? Characteristics associated with Heard's code type under this diagnosis: they're cruel. They're likely to, literally, she said this, they're likely to falsely file temporary restraining orders. They are likely to mimic the people they abuse. I don't know if she went as far to say it, but she basically said people like Amber Heard are going to dress like Johnny Depp, which a lot of you astutely pointed out throughout this trial. That's what's happening. They're dramatic and shallow, and they use their looks to get what they want. She said there was a recording where Amber slapped one of her friends for no reason and was abusive to them. A recording where she clawed and pulled Johnny's hair. And those are the types of things she would expect from somebody with this disorder. Totally damning for Amber Heard. Crushing, potentially the biggest evidence. Why I feel a heavy lean to Johnny Depp. Now, my issue I have with Dr. Curry is not her fault at all. She did a good job. She did a great job. Same thing with Johnny's legal team. My issue is if you're Amber Heard's lawyers, how did you let this testimony in? This was not a psychological evaluation to see what disorder Amber Heard might have had. This independent medical examination, which the IME is the language everybody's been using on YouTube and Twitter. To me, it sounds more like a compulsory medical exam because Amber had to submit herself to this examination, compelled by Johnny Depp's lawyer and approved by the court, paid for in a doctor chosen by Johnny Depp's lawyer, which is a compulsory medical exam, not independent. Independent, usually the court appoints it and chooses their own doctor. It's not someone chosen by Johnny's legal team. So I know everybody's saying it's court ordered. There's a difference between court ordered and court allowed, right? The court has to allow you to do a compulsory medical exam. It's different between court ordered and court allowed, okay? But again, either way, she's paid for by Johnny's legal team. We know that came out in testimony. So no beef with her again. But the reason that her examination was allowed is because Amber Heard put it on issue when she said that Johnny Depp caused PTSD. Okay. And if Dr. Curry would have stepped up and said, yep, no PTSD, definitely not. She did say that. She said she had 19 out of 20 characteristics, which basically means you're lying because you're trying to force the PTSD diagnosis on you. So again, to me, she just hammers Amber Heard. And she basically calls her like she is a manipulative, pathological liar, basically. She's trying to get me to say she has this disorder. However, we have tests that show that she's trying to make me say she has this disorder, that basically you can't outsmart and trick these tests. Therefore, I know she did not have this disorder. She exhibited no signs of anybody that has ever had PTSD. And I've had a lot of cases with clients with PTSD. I know how these tests go. They're objective. And most of the time, there's some form of PTSD, even if it went away or if it's permanent, depending on what it is. But she went so far as to say, no, Amber Heard is not dealing with this. And she was as black and white as she could possibly be about it, which again, all fair game. But that, in my opinion, is where I would have fought as a trial lawyer to get her testimony to end. The fact that they started with the borderline personality disorder, and that was the bulk of her testimony to explain that she's exactly the type of person to do all the things Johnny Depp and all of his witnesses said she did, was crushing to Amber Heard. And that's the first moment in this trial that I have thought there may be an issue for appeal. If Amber Heard's lawyers have protected the record correctly enough pre-trial about trying to keep this testimony out, and this testimony has come in and has been so damning as to potentially flip this verdict. Again, Johnny Depp's lawyers did their job. Dr. Curry did her job. She testified honestly, truthfully, and won the day for her client. But legally speaking, if I'm Amber Heard's lawyer, I don't think that's relevant to this. I don't think that's relevant to her evaluation. She could have said no PTSD with all that other stuff. So from my opinion, that's just what I would have argued. Again, no beef with Dr. Curry. I'm just saying that that's what I would have tried to hammer on. And again, let's get to cross next, okay? And this is, the female lawyer for Amber Heard that a lot of people don't like. I thought her cross was actually really good in the beginning, really strong. The questions she was asking and the answers that she was getting. But she was just way too aggressive. There's a way to ask these questions and be stern, but smile and be pleasant and be nice and say, Dr. Curry, you had dinner and drinks with Johnny Depp, right? And when Dr. Curry says, I wouldn't characterize it like that. Oh, okay. You had dinner, right? Yes. And you had drinks, right? Well, I had a drink, but I don't know if I had drinks. Okay. And just smile and very nicely ask the questions, because I do think that that's prejudicial. I mean, I don't think that's great that you go and have dinner and drinks with somebody. And she tried to make it sound like Johnny Depp wasn't there. It was his legal team that hired him, but Johnny Depp was there and it was at his house. Now, I don't think you disregard what she says, but I thought that was a good point. I thought she impeached her multiple times with good points, saying, you've never diagnosed somebody with bipolar disorder. I can't remember what they were, but a couple things where Dr. Curry said, yes, I have. And then they went back to her depot and she actually properly impeached her, unlike Mr. Rottenborn, where she said, but this was your answer back then, right? And you were under oath when you gave this testimony, right? And she said, yes. So again, I think that she got some really good points across. So Natalie asked, why didn't the judge request an independent evaluation specifically? So it's not necessarily up to the judge if Johnny Depp's lawyers don't want to call somebody and dig into that mental diagnosis of PTSD. But if Johnny's lawyers want to, they can request the plaintiff or the defendant in this case to submit themselves to a medical examination. And if they say no or object to it, then they can ask the court and the court can order it. And again, if it was truly independent, the court would have chosen the expert. I realize people are arguing with me in the chat, and that's fine. I've done this a lot. It is not court ordered if Johnny Depp's lawyers, it's not independent and court ordered if Johnny Depp's lawyers choose and pay for the expert. And we can disagree, and that's totally fine. But the court didn't do it because it's not necessarily their position to do it in a case like this. If there's a criminal case, a court-ordered independent medical examination could be whether or not this defendant is competent to stand trial or competent to testify or competent to continue. A court could order some potentially if it's an insanity defense and the court wants to get involved and make sure they have an objective, independent person do it. It's very unusual for a court to do it in a civil case. Thank you, Natalie, for the question. All right, we're up over 2,000 people. That's awesome. Hopefully we can have over 3,000 people again, like we've had the last couple lives, because it's been fun and the chat's been awesome. So hopefully we have, getting up towards 2,000 likes and all 2,000 of you are subscribed. It's telling me that like 70% of you that are in these lives are not subscribed. So if that 70% of you go subscribe, we'll hit 40K tonight, which would be awesome. Pixie, how does the appeal work? Would there be another trial? If they go and win the appeal and the court orders another trial, they can. They can vacate the judgment. Sometimes appeals don't rise to that level to where they'll say it was just negligible error, basically, or they could just deny an appeal. An appeal does not guarantee a new trial. If you win it, it could be one of the remedies of the appeal, could be a new trial, depending on how bad it was, whatever happened in trial causing the appeal. Lorraine, I'm behind the 8 ball today. Caught a little of the doc testimony. I have worked in the medical legal field for 15 years. I know IMEs, MMPI, all that. Did she go too deep? If you don't know, you don't know. I'm stuck on week call. Have to watch back later. Appreciate your opinion. Lorraine, I would love for you to watch back and jump back on another live to get in the chat and talk to us more with your experience. That would be great. In my opinion, I don't think she went too deep. I think you have to reference those books, because then on cross, when you say, is that the most recent, the MMPI 2? And she says, no, but it's the most researched. And she had some zingers like that. She knew her stuff, no doubt about it. I don't think she went too deep. I think she did a great job with her diagnosis. She did a great job explaining it. Again, my objection is not to anything that she did or Depp's lawyers did. I would have just tried to keep it out if I was Amber Heard's lawyers. But what she did and how she explained it, I thought was great in layman's terms. Some people can glaze over when an expert's testifying, so I understand that. I thought she crushed. I thought she did a great job. But I also think that Heard's lawyers, Elaine, did get some points out on cross. I think she lost some of the flavor of it with how aggressive she was. But I do think that, objectively speaking, she did get some good points across. She impeached her a couple times with good, proper impeachment. She made it seem like she was maybe pushing a little too far on what her credentials were and what she's actually done. I think she did a good job saying, you were so excited to have Johnny Depp as a client, even though it didn't work great because it was kind of Amber's words impeaching her. And that's when we get to the muffins. And everybody wants to talk about the muffins. I don't know if any of you watch, and this is probably horrible for me to admit, it's my wife's favorite show, but I did watch with her forever. Vanderpump Rules, when they were clearly talking about drugs at some point, but they started talking about pasta, and James was like, it's not about the pasta. It's not about the pasta, when they're clearly talking about drugs. That's what I thought they were going with muffins, but it turns out it was actually just muffins they were talking about. And Dr. Curry's husband provided muffins for her and Amber during their evaluation, because she said she was running late, as she often does. Amber said, Dr. Curry said, it's because she was so excited to have a celebrity client, so she had her husband go out and get muffins, and these muffins somehow prove that she was so excited to have a celebrity client. But Dr. Curry made sure to let us know she's got lots of celebrity clients, and it's no big deal to her. So that's about the muffins, and that's kind of what Dr. Curry was talking about. We got another super chat here. So, syntaxically, would a typical jury see that witness as biased? I think some would not. Somebody else in the chat early on, before I jumped on, I just happened to see them ask, did Amber's lawyer say that the judge was biased? And no, Amber's lawyer said one of the questions Johnny Depp's lawyers objected to, and the judge sustained that objection. After she lost, Elaine kind of thought about it again and said, but judge, it goes to bias. She was talking about the question she was asking going to bias, not that the judge was biased. But it was a good catch, and she did say something like that. Mr. Turn Up the Party, you could pay anyone to say anything. Two brilliant scientific minds can have different opinions on a subject depending on who is paying them. You're 100% correct, and it happens in just about every trial. I will say, as I scroll through the chat, I see mostly people saying they believe the forensic expert, which I understand, and I realize it's the nature of the beast, but quite a few said the treating doctor, and quite a few said I'd have to listen to both of them before I can make my decision, which absolutely is understandable as well. Tiffany Mitchell, can Amber's lawyer's attitude rub the jury the wrong way? Of course. I mean, that's a big thing. Lawyers, we have certain facts, right? We can do things with those facts. We can be strategic. We can keep certain things out, get certain things in, try to be as likable as we can to the jury. But at the end of the day, the facts are what they are. And as a lawyer, you want to be likable to the jury. You want to be trustworthy. You want them to think you're honest and can believe what you're saying, right? Not think you're honest. You want to be honest and them to understand that you're honest. But you absolutely can rub them the wrong way by being too aggressive, by being too nasty, too sarcastic. So it's something you always want to guard against. You also don't want to seem stiff or bored or unintelligent. You don't want to seem those things to a jury. You want to seem all your best characteristics to the jury so that you don't distract from the evidence in the case. You want to present your client's evidence in your client's case. So absolutely their attitude can have a negative effect. Okay, let's keep talking here. All right, the end of the cross on Dr. Curry. Again, I felt like it was going well for a good bit there. Then I felt like the judge was just plain wrong on some of the objections. I thought she should have been able to get into a lot of the things she wanted to get into that the judge wouldn't let her get into. And I just think that was kind of a miss again in cross. All right, let's see where we go here. We'll take a second now. 2,500 people here in the chat. So if you haven't already, subscribe. I want to see how close we can get. I don't know how to really even look up how many subscribers I have at the current moment, but I'll try to pull it up on my phone here so we can keep track of it. 39,400. So we're still a while away. Probably won't hit it during this, but it was still fun to try. So maybe we'll hit it overnight or something. So if you haven't subscribed already, go hit the subscribe button. All right, redirect. So redirect, Johnny Depp's lawyers decided to talk about malingering. Malingering basically means lying for a certain reason. And medical professionals don't like to use that. And because they don't like to call people liars, right? But Amber's lawyers were focusing so hard on one of the diagnoses, how malingering is not part of that Johnny Depp's lawyers want to say, yeah, but your other diagnosis, malingering is a part. And you did think she was malingering or exaggerating or whatever it may be. And she did say yes to that. So I think that was good. And she was able to kind of rehab some of her problems on cross, which none of them were big problems. But I do think she did get a couple points across. Oh, the biggest thing that maybe some of you were confused about during cross, that Amber's lawyers that I thought was a swing and a miss. They talked about whether or not this was her opinion on this date when she made this disclosure. And what you might not know is we as lawyers, when we disclose an expert, we have to disclose generally what their opinion is going to be. So these were disclosures written by lawyers, not by the doctor. And she did a good job saying, I didn't write those opinions. I don't know the legalese. I don't know anything about that. So she did a great job answering those questions. And it was kind of confusing. And yes, some of those were not her opinions because they were written a little bit differently by lawyers. But I thought that was kind of a miss by Amber's lawyers to go in so hard on that on cross. I just wanted to kind of mention that in case any of you were confused when that happened. A lot of new subscribers from Legal Bites I see here. That's awesome. Thank you guys for coming over. And any of my people that are not subscribed to Legal Bites, go do it. I saw a lot of you in the chat today saying you were there subscribing, getting her to 100 grand. So that was awesome. That was really fun. Okay, so that was the big witness of the day. And I expect to get a lot of questions about that doctor when we get to the question portion of the video. But to finish off, the police officer who was dry and direct, and by video, which always is a little bit more boring, but incredibly important in my opinion, reported to the scene of one of the major domestic violence actions that Amber is relying on. And this officer said, we came, we swept the scene, we talked to everybody, including Amber. She didn't say she was injured. I didn't see any injuries. I have no idea if she was wearing makeup or not, of course. She didn't answer a lot of my questions. Out of everything that I saw or heard, nothing led me to believe that there was a crime or domestic violence had occurred. We didn't arrest anybody. We closed the case. It was very quick, but not too quick. It was thorough enough. Because, of course, Amber Heard's lawyers were trying to get her to say, oh, it wasn't a thorough investigation. It was so quick. It's like, what do you want her to do? When the victim doesn't have any injuries and isn't complaining about anything and doesn't want to talk to me, what am I supposed to do as an officer? Just sit there for 5 hours just to say I was thorough? That's unreasonable. That's totally unreasonable. Sly, you're saying, is there any way Amber could be jailed for lying? I mean, if she's convicted of perjury, sure, she could go to jail, but other people saying she's lying, unlikely to have any criminal ramifications. One of the other things they tried to impeach the officer on, Amber's team, is that she wasn't a domestic violence specialist. It's like beat cops show up when you call the cops for domestic violence. They don't send the domestic violence specialist, whatever that is. So again, I don't think that manifests much in the jury's minds, but you all let me know, as always, if you disagree. So out of today's witnesses, because I thought they were all three home runs for Johnny Depp, I do want to know which one you all thought was the best witness today for Johnny Depp, because I think he went 3 for 3. It was not a boring follow-up to his testimony. And so let me know in the chat, the house manager, the forensic psychologist, or the officer. Which one of those three witnesses do you think was the best for Johnny Depp today? Today, not throughout the trial. I saw somebody say Johnny Depp himself. So we're getting 3 for 3. A lot of Dr. Curry's. The cop, okay, so we got some for that. The cop for sure, cop, police officer, doctor, police officer number 2. So it seems like it's between the police officer and Dr. Curry. Okay, we do have a vote for number 1, the house manager. A lot of votes for Curry and the cop. They seem to win the day. I think Dr. Curry wins the day overall. Team 0, will Amber testify? Yes. I went in deep on this in the last video. In civil trials, the parties almost always testify, and if she's so bad that her side doesn't want to call her, Johnny Depp's side can call her. So either way, it seems like she's gonna testify. Viking reacts. Viking, man, I'm on a Viking trip with Last Kingdom and Vikings, the old Discovery Channel show. Like I'm on a run watching Viking show, so I like the name. Hey, bro. Hi there from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Thanks for all your insight. I thought the psychologist laid it on thick, maybe too obvious. Could that backfire? I think it could. And it's something that I worry about when we have witnesses that are just a little too perfect. Because she was quoting Johnny Depp and other witnesses saying that this is how people like Amber Heard act, and with this disorder act, down to the specific exact acts that they testified to, that would worry me. Is she a little too perfect? This paid expert that has dinner and drinks with Johnny Depp and his legal team and was so excited to have Johnny Depp as a client. I talked about this a little bit yesterday. Sometimes jurors look for something to hold on to. So if they're looking for a reason to support Amber, then I think that she could have given them that reason. I do. I think that she could have given that reason if they want to look at it that way. We have to realize that every juror basically comes in with their own natural experiences. You can call it bias if you want. They bring that into the trial. So everything needs to be sifted through there, which is why I like this chat with 2,800 people, almost 3,000 people in here, is a good cross-section to see, do people in the chat think she was a little too perfect? And to me, I think the answer is no, because no doubt people said Dr. Curry was the best witness of all of the witnesses in today's trial. We're almost to 3,000 people watching. I think our most ever in a stream was like 3,200 people. So tell your friends to jump on so we can break that number in today's live. That would be fun. If we're not going to break 40,000 subscribers, let's at least break some kind of record today. It's a record-breaking day. I thought the cross was horribly ineffective with the officer. Again, basically trying to say that she didn't do a thorough investigation. What do you expect them to do? And that's the other thing, right? So I thought of the 3 witnesses today, while Dr. Curry blew the biggest holes in Amber's case, I also thought Amber's lawyers got the most shots on cross to Dr. Curry, because I don't think they got barely anything out of the house manager or the island manager. Sorry, I think I may have called her the house manager earlier. The island manager, excuse me, who was making $10,000 a month from Johnny Depp. It's also funny that the lawyer tried to impeach her by saying, well, at some point you got to raise to $10,010 a day. It's like, woo, you got her. Like, those are the ones you just don't take those shots because you look dumb. But I don't think they got much at all on cross for the island manager, and I don't think they got much at all on cross for the officer. So I take that into account as a lawyer that's prepped these witnesses. When I think of who the best witness was as a whole, that's why I think they're close to Dr. Curry, because I definitely think Dr. Curry was most damning to Amber, but we have to take them as a whole. Just food for thought for us to kind of discuss as the lawyer that tries cases like this and people that could potentially be jurors on a case like this. Why does it look like 90% of the jury are women? I haven't seen any pictures or videos of the jury yet. I have actually heard that it's a majority male. So I'm not positive. Yeah, Lonnie. Like, I mean, really? That $10 raise is going to be the difference, not the 10. And she's like, and all of your expenses are, she just fumbles around some of the impeachment. And I will tell you, sometimes it's hard because they give us documents that tell us, how much they've been paid, some biased documents, right? How much they've been paid by the legal team, paid by the client, by Johnny Depp. And, sometimes that can be difficult to sift through exactly what they give us and create these charts because they don't always tell us I made X amount. They'll give us like a spreadsheet of all the payments they made. And so sometimes that's difficult. So that's why sometimes it can be clumsy when she says stuff like, well, I did the calculations and I found that you got a $10 raise. You think you got something there as a lawyer sometimes when you're so invested and you're buried in this case, but we as outsiders see that that's really no big deal. Alex asked, what was so helpful about the cop testifying? I like 100% unbiased witnesses that are not getting paid by Johnny Depp, right? I don't discount those witnesses, but I'm saying I put a little more credibility on somebody that has no connection to Johnny Depp, has never been paid by Johnny Depp, showed up and was doing their job, and saw absolutely no injuries to Amber Heard, heard no complaints of any injuries, heard no complaints of any crimes, looked around and didn't see any issues, and then left thinking there was no problem in this case. That's hella important to me. And if I'm on a jury, I'm thinking this officer has no, bone to pick or whatever it is. There's no dog in this fight. So if she's saying Amber Heard wasn't hurt, then maybe I'm starting to believe Amber Heard lied about this abuse and about these bruises. And maybe I think she did set up these pictures. If an unbiased cop, that's why people can argue with me in the chat if they want. There's a big difference between a court ordering an independent medical exam and Johnny Depp being able to choose and pay the psychologist that does the examination on Amber Heard. It would have made a difference to me, maybe not to the layperson or to the juror, but that's why the cop was important to me and why I felt like they were very helpful personally. Oh, mostly female spectators, somebody said. I have seen other people comment how it's mostly, thank you, Nikki, how it's mostly female spectators behind Amber Heard's side of the courtroom. And in case you didn't know, you sit behind the party that you're there to support. So a lot of the camera angles have shown who's sitting behind Amber Heard for whatever that's worth. Yeah, I don't think the lawyer on cross was likable. I agree. And I think that's problematic because I'm looking at it technically. I'm listening to the questions. I'm thinking, oh, that was a good point. That was a good point. But you're right. Even I'm sitting there like, as someone who's pretty aggressive and can be sarcastic, I try not to be a trial, but just generally speaking, I'm pretty sarcastic. I'm dry. I'm pretty aggressive generally. I was like, man, that's rubbing me the wrong way. I can only imagine somebody who has a less aggressive personality or doesn't take kindly to that, or who's, been a victim of somebody who's abusive. I don't think you take kindly to that. So I agree. I don't think it comes off very likable. Daniela Martinez, why do Amber Heard's lawyers ask the same question in so many different ways? I feel like they don't know what else to ask and buy time asking the same thing. I think both the officer and doctor helped Johnny Depp more than Amber Heard. I agree with you there. So sometimes they're repeating questions for different reasons, right? And maybe that they're trying to buy time. And maybe that they think it's so important they want the jury to hear it multiple times. It may be part of the impeachment process that they're asking the question now. They're reading it from the prior sworn statement, and then they're asking again as a follow-up. That could be one of the reasons they're repeating questions. It could be because there's an objection and the judge is making them ask the same question a different way. So sometimes if you're just sitting back or like I am, you're working and you're listening to it in the background. That's a lot of how I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of work while this trial is on. When I'm on the channels, I'm in focused, when I'm doing one of the streams. But a lot of times you may not be watching and notice why it's asked multiple times, so it may sound like repetitive, but there may be a reason for it as well. Yes, Chris Hollins, I thought this was hilarious too. It was a mule drink. Lawyers can sound so out of touch, and it's happened to me in trials before too sometimes. Like when you talk about gaslighting and they say gaslighting, is that a medical term? Is that a legal term? I'm not so sure. Media for JD is bad. need win or post-trial will be worse. Pixie, really? You think so? I feel like he's really recouped. And I even talked about it tonight. We had a church group over here before I did this video, and they were talking about it. And a lot of them felt like he's already won, and they don't know anything about the case. They're not really following it. So I think the consensus to your average person, I think, is that Johnny Depp's coming out ahead here, win or lose. But Pixie is feeling like no. So let me know. What do you think? In the court of public opinion right now, win or lose, do you think Johnny Depp is better off or worse off? Let me know in the comments and in the chat. I love doing stuff like this because, taking consensus from you guys really helps me keep my finger on the pulse. Viking reacts, smart, attractive woman, clearly on his side, subconsciously speaking, positive impact on the jury. That has to almost be a conscious decision by Johnny Depp's team. I'm sure it was part of the decision-making process. I'm sure that's part of why they wanted to choose her, but I also think she had great credentials and did a great job testifying. She also gave them the exact opinion that they wanted. I'm sure that came into play as well. So yeah, I do think it was a conscious decision, and I do think it has an effect on the jury. Everything we do at trial as trial lawyers, we think about what effect it's going to have on the jury. Absolutely. We are almost to 3,200 people here in the chat, which is wild. If you've been on my channel for a while, we're not, big time like Alita having 30,000 people in there or whatever. So this is crazy and a lot of fun for us. So thanks everybody for jumping in and joining. Let's try to get it to, I think 3,400 or something would be our most ever, which would be awesome if we could get there. And then again, let me check, see where our subs are at. I don't know how to do this really. 39,600. All right, so we're getting closer to 40,000, and we just might hit it before the end of this video. Okay, so, see, this is what I felt too. I like when the chat agrees with me. In case you can't, you haven't picked up on that yet. Now, I understand when they don't, and I'm here to learn off disagreement. Everybody is saying better, better off, winning, win, better off. He's winning our hearts. Winning, Johnny's better off, win, JD win, better off, way better off, far better off, winning, better off, win, way better off. Okay, so consensus is clearly thinking Johnny Depp is way better off at this point than he was prior to the trial. So we're all kind of on the same page there, which is good. Court of public opinion, Johnny has won. I like Johnny way more now. I got to be honest, I didn't really know much about Johnny personally before this trial, and I feel like I like him better now after watching this trial. AP, will the cops from the second call testify? I'm not sure, but it seems like they've intimated that they will, but I'm not sure. Somebody asked, why didn't they examine Johnny? Amy asked. He did not put that at issue by saying he got PTSD. Now, it's interesting because in some jurisdictions, saying that you have emotional distress, which Johnny did say in the complaint, does open you up to this kind of investigation. But in Virginia law, that is not a high enough bar. Saying you have emotional distress does not rise to the bar to forcing you to be examined. You have to actually say, I guess, some kind of diagnosis like PTSD. So Astro Porpoise, 39.6 subs, 1.1K likes, 3,200 people in here and only 1.1K likes is kind of hurtful, but if we got to break some kind of record, right? We're at 3,207. We need about 200 more people to jump in here or 400 more people to subscribe for us to have a happy ending here. And that Johnny Depp is a very private person. He has been for many years. He wouldn't bring on this very public case unless he had a good reason. I agree, because a lot of the testimony and evidence that's coming out is embarrassing for him, and nobody would want that to come out, which I personally think makes it more believable that what he's saying is true. I do. I agree with you there. Better off no matter what comes next. Yeah, everybody's saying better off. Dave Beatty. I was pro Amber Heard prior to this trial, but have changed my opinion since following this trial to the point that I now believe Johnny Depp and disbelieve Amber Heard. So all I would caution you to say is it seems like you're an open-minded person and you're willing to take in information and make decisions based on information. She hasn't had her chance to put on her evidence yet, so let's not make our final decisions. We can definitely lean Johnny Depp's side, which I think is normal. It's his case in chief. And again, if she crashes and burns when she's putting on her case in chief, we may lean all the way to Johnny Depp's side. So we still have more evidence to hear about in this case. And exactly what you're saying, somebody said to me in that I was hanging out with earlier tonight that said, I got to be honest, before I heard anything in any of the news reports in this case, I just figured Johnny Depp beat Amber Heard and abused her. And maybe it's the Me Too movement. Maybe it's just kind of my bias, but it was a female that was talking to me about it. And she said, I just thought he abused her. And I think, unfortunately, that's what's so sad about what Amber Heard does. When we have a movement, listen, there were issues with the Me Too movement. There were people that lied. There were legitimate cases. There were illegitimate cases. But when you start giving voices to people that felt like they didn't have voices before and you use it and waste it, like it seems like Amber Heard did, that does so much damage. And so many people that thought just automatically that she was telling the truth now are realizing that maybe we need to be a little more cautious and not jump to conclusions, which is not a bad thing either. All right, Matthew, what do you think of Amber Heard's demeanor during the trial? I don't think she's coming off the way that she thinks. I think that she keeps changing her facial expressions, which is interesting. A lot of people saying they think she has RBF. I don't necessarily disagree. She's very done up throughout the trial. People saying she kind of copies what Johnny was wearing the day before, which, if you ask Dr. Curry, fits right in with her medical diagnosis. So I don't think it's been a huge swing helping or hurting. I have heard that during her deposition, it's much, much worse. So we'll see how she actually does on the stand when she's coming down under cross-examination. RBF. Somebody in the chat translate what RBF is for me. All right. She tries to look like the victim. People are saying, yeah, people have answered. You all are the best. You've answered the call. All right, Pamela, why would Amber willingly participate of a psychological evaluation by a person hired by JD? Doesn't this affect her in a negative way? So yes, it affects her in a negative way. She did not willingly participate. Her lawyers objected to it. And again, a lot of this I'm surmising by how we got here because I have not purposely read all the pretrial stuff, but I'm pretty positive this is how it went. Her lawyers were up to 3,300 people here and in the chat. So 100 more people, and we break records as to the most people ever on a live with me, which is really fun. This case is wild. It's breaking all kinds of records. So Johnny Depp's lawyer said they want to do it because she said she got PTSD. She said no, she doesn't want to be subjected to that. So they had to go to the court, and the court ordered it. The court said, yes, Johnny Depp can evaluate you because you made this an issue by saying you got PTSD. Let's find out if that's true. They get to hire a doctor to bring him in and say, does she actually have PTSD or not? And I guess by way of saying no PTSD, also diagnose her with all this other stuff and say she did all these horrible things based on this diagnosis. So she did not willingly do it. Yes, it is bad for her. They had to bring it to the court, make the court make a call. And that's what happened. And I'd be willing to bet Amber Heard is going to have somebody to combat that testimony, either her treating physician or a hired forensic psychologist herself, to go back and forth. And you also heard, if you caught it, there was a lot of back and forth about what's better, a psychologist or a psychiatrist. You're not board certified. You're just licensed. How long have you been practicing? Only 10 years versus her treating physician has been practicing for 40 years. So a lot of times when you have a battle of the experts, you're going to hear the lawyers try to argue why their expert is better, which is why I wanted to know from you if you thought a forensic doctor versus a treating doctor, which one's more? You guys seem to lean on the forensic side, but there were some votes for the forensic doctor, number one. Number two, I also want to know, we might as well ask it now, how much credence do you put on the law? I'm not going to ask board certification because that's kind of different specialties. I'm going to ask on, or actually, I guess that's a good question too. So let's just kind of throw it all out there now. When you're comparing experts, and if it's a battle of the experts and you're a juror, what are you looking at? Are you looking at years of experience? Are you looking at how much money they made on the case? Are you looking at board certification or not, even if license is kind of the same thing as board certification in psychologist versus psychiatrist? What are you looking at? Because in my opinion, whether somebody has 10 years of experience or 20 years of experience, not that big of a deal. I mean, I got to be honest. I could be wrong. And you all tell me, a lot of you out there have 20, 30, 40 years of experience in exactly what you do. But I mean, listen, if it's 1 year of experience versus 30 years, big difference. But 10 versus 12 or versus 15 or 15 like she has versus 40, the clinician, what they have. Let me know what really makes that difference in the chat or in the comments if you're watching this later. What makes that difference in a battle of the experts for you? Or are you just listening to what they say and you pick the one you agree with or you feel like is the most knowledgeable? We have hit 3,400 and change, almost 3,500. That's awesome. We have broken one record, even if we don't get to 40,000 subscribers tonight in the live. So that's awesome. Thank you guys. Testament to you guys for making it happen and telling your friends. Fatima, Johnny, in my opinion, is the abused one, but was wondering what their evidences are for the defamation, canceled contracts. So no, not canceled contracts. The defamation has to be that what she said is a lie. And what she said is not just her opinion and it's not the truth. Okay. And their evidence of that is basically an overarching theme of she gaslighted him, she lied, she took fake pictures, she made fake police reports, she got a fake TRO. This is what her personality disorder, this is exactly what people like her do. That's their evidence, is that she has a pattern of lying and blaming the victim and trying to turn it around and saying, even though she's abusing him, she tries to say he's abusing her, using the Me Too movement. They're trying to set up that pattern to say, see, all of this is a lie. And this op-ed in the Washington Post was just another lie to give her a platform and to hurt Johnny Depp. That's how it all fits with. Yes, Albanian Anissa, more likes. 39.7. Hey, we're still going. I don't know how much I've got left in me. I was texting some people telling them I was pretty tired before this one, but you guys gave me the energy to get through it here. We probably have another maybe 15, 20 minutes. My wife has friends over, so I got nowhere to be, except my bed potentially. Kathleen, can there be a hung jury in a jury trial instead of a verdict? Yes, there can. It's got to be a unanimous verdict for this case. So if they can't come to a unanimous verdict, it'll be a hung jury. Hopper, Amber on the stand prediction. We know she's going to cry and play the victim. I'd put money on aggressive Elaine asking for a break so she can collect herself. Hopper, I'm going to remember this because this is a good prediction, and lawyers do this sometimes strategically. I hate it. I hate fake tears. I don't think they ever work. I think a jury can see through them. I hate asking for a break and things like that. Listen, if it's necessary and you got to do it, I get it. No filter, thank you. 1.4K likes. I have no idea what our kind of goal is for, 10 more people and get to 3.4K. Yeah, let's go. We hit that 3.4K number, which is awesome. Thank you all so much. Will not having pictures in police reports hurt her? From Joanna Hamlin. She has some pictures, but not having pictures from that night from this officer, if that's what you're referencing, since that's what the witness was today, do they hurt her? The answer is probably no, because the officer said there were no bruises and no damage done to her face. So if there were pictures, that would be even more objective evidence that there were no injuries. Now, of course, if there were injuries and she had pictures of them, that would be better for her. But it seems like there were not. All right. The expert should not have an emotional attachment. So I agree with you. What do you think would be evidence of an emotional attachment? All right, so let me read through here. A lot of you are answering this question for me. Years of experience is important. So years of experience, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I think that's important too. I want to hear the doctor's rebuttal, expertise in that particular field, objective eval and testing. So that's good because she talked about what her testing was here. So you would look into that. Reputation amongst their peers. That's good. That's important. Sometimes we can't get into that. Competency on the stand, education. That's good. Mastery of the topic, experience both in years and cases. So you'd want to see more cases. We always kind of go both ways. Like, does it look better if they're not a hired gun and they don't do, and they just kind of do this, they practice it for a living, but you want to see that they've done a lot of cases. That's good. Education, experience, expertise, compound question. That's fair. That's fair. You got me there, but the rules of evidence don't apply here, to me at least. Level of education, the experience thing is irrelevant. I think to a certain point, listen, if you've been doing it for a week and somebody's been doing it for 20 years, big difference. But once you get past 10, 15, 20 years, I mean, I don't care how much they make, people saying experience, a lot of experience here. Very cool. Need to hear the testimony. Good deal. "40 years is over the hill." So Parks, 62 years old here. So he's saying, listen, I'm talking about my own people sometimes. I get it. And I think that there's a thing with that too. Like if you sound like you're not with it anymore, or you're kind of past your prime or over the hill, there could be a problem with 40 years of experience, you know? I mean, I do think that, so I like it. Everybody's opinion matters, because if Parks was on the jury, that would matter. Okay? That's what I want everybody to understand. If somebody has that opinion on the jury, it absolutely matters to this case. And if they like one better than the other and they refuse to change their vote, it's a hung jury. And the person that would have won if this one person wasn't on the jury is not going to win. It's just a fact. Credibility during cross. I like it. I like that. You guys are awesome. Great points here. Stuff I didn't even mention you're bringing up, which is great. Team Zero made sense. Curry said the treating doctor is for Amber. Clearly, I mean, obviously. And people sometimes are going to think a treating doctor is biased, which is really funny to me. It's like a treating physician's there to treat them, but people think that they're biased, I guess. I never really thought of it that way, but I'm going to think about it in my upcoming trials and, think about how they may even think the treating doctors are biased. Credentials. Buy some gel, dude. What do you think gel's going to do to this, man? There's way too much of this here for gel. And maybe you can't tell how much there is if you're new, but there's a lot back here. Shelly, and this is a great point for Shelly, because she's saying how each individual person brings their experience into the jury. I'm a speech therapist. I look at how they articulate their answers in a clear manner. Everybody's going to bring their experience. Obviously, me being a lawyer, I bring, how I handle all these cases in as a juror, which is why they don't want me. Matthew, do you think Amber Heard lawyer reacted to the objections really hurts her and Amber Heard for the rest of the trial? Yeah, it's never good to huff and puff. I always say thank you, Your Honor, after, even if I lose an objection. Thank you, Your Honor. Whatever, because they gave us a ruling. That's all we really asked for from them. Secretly a celebrity, a new fascination for lawyers. That's a great thing, man. It's everybody like lawyers. We help people. We're the reason there are seatbelts and warning labels. Every video I do, there's somebody that tells me why they hate a lawyer in it. Every single one. People just hate lawyers till they need them, which is fine. I get it. There's some bad apples. Thank you, Tushar. 1.5K likes. That's fun. I don't think we're going to hit 40K, unfortunately, but it was still a fun try, and I appreciate everybody that subscribed tonight. Peter, have you ever crossed a witness who's an actor? Not a famous actor, but like low-level actors, yes. One of the funniest people I cross-examined in a case was the WWE wrestler, the Bushwhacker. I don't know if you guys remember them. They were like a tag team back in the day, and I cross-examined him on a case, and it was really funny, and I threw in some funny questions. And the other lawyer, the defense lawyer, was laughing. It was fun. He was a good dude. All right, Mahiri. Cop testified of 2 pics of Amber Heard's face shown. One was altered, resulting in redness. Do you think that was a big thing? Thought it was huge. Man, I must have missed that. Again, like I said, I'm listening to some of this in the background, not always watching it. That is huge if they say it was altered to add redness. Huge. And that's why, as a juror, you have to determine a picture that could potentially be altered, or you have an officer right there who saw her face and is saying there was no evidence of injury or violence, or I would have arrested somebody. That's what I'm there to do. I think we see angry Amber in the cross. So that's kind of what somebody else said about experts. May figure out whether or not they're valid, how they act on cross, and maybe that's the same way for Amber. Put a 1 in the chat if you subscribe tonight. Let's go 40K. Lisa, great point. Or in the comments, if you're watching later and you subscribe during the watching of this video, drop a 1 in the chat. Let's see how many people are joining and jumping on the bandwagon now, which is, oh, wow, a lot of people already. Team Zero, Hippie Gypsy, Matilda. A lot of people sub tonight. Shannon Morse, PLN 315, Temp. Tiffany Mitchell, in your personal opinion, do you think this case needs 3 more weeks or so? It seems like it does based on how the judge is talking and the lawyers are talking, how they're continuously trying to rush this case because they're saying we're not going to have enough time to finish, which to me makes me think it's going to take the full 6 weeks, which is interesting because the other trial only took 3. But that's how you see or 3 or 4 or something. It took less than the 6 weeks. But that's the difference between going against a newspaper or business and going against your ex and a person. Aziba Music, the cop, especially when we dive into more evidence. Uh-oh. All right, so 200 to go, or less than 200 to go. I got a text for us to hit 40K, so we're getting there. All right, Sarah Shamlin, can we talk about the muffin question? It reminded me of the Amica cream questions. They just looked like they were reaching. Sarah, thank you for this comment. They have picked some very weird and random things to latch onto, like the makeup and the cream and the muffins, that I think they think is proving a point that I'm not so sure it proves, right? I mean, I feel like Sarah's with me with this, where it's very weird. Now, the mega pints and muffins for everybody, right? Let's have a party. Mule drinks, mega pints, and muffins for everybody, because those are the types of questions Amber Heard's lawyers are asking. To me, they don't prove what they think they're proving. I feel like they think they have an aha moment, but I'm not feeling it. It doesn't seem like Sarah is either. Our channel by Angie. You may have already spoke on this, but what do you attribute all of the compound questions being asked by the lawyer? Lack of experience, strategy, or to avoid leading? I honestly think it's probably to speed things along, to try to get as much out as you can, and it's just not polished. That's what I would say. They look experienced. I don't know any of these lawyers. There's been a lot of trials we've done on here where I've known the lawyers. I don't know these lawyers personally. I definitely don't think it's strategy. I definitely don't think they're trying to trick the witnesses, because the compound questions are not that good. And even if they were to answer them yes or no, it wouldn't be that great for the lawyer or for Amber Heard. So I just think it's kind of fumbling around, maybe not as prepared or getting tripped up throughout the cross, and just trying to speed things along and get as many things into the. And I got to be honest, to be fair, okay, a lot of you that haven't seen a million trials, a lot of times compound questions fly, especially when they don't matter and both parts of the compound question have the same answer. You usually just wouldn't object to that. But they're objecting to it every time, and it is flustering Amber Heard's lawyers, and you guys are noticing it. So it's obviously working what Johnny Depp's lawyers are doing. Thank you, Albanian Anissa. You don't need gel. Your hair looks great, dude. All right. Why has no one asked if Johnny had any injuries? So some people have asked if Johnny's had injuries, and they've said yes. Then they've explained the injury of the bridge of his nose, the burn, the cut off finger. His security expert went through pictures of injuries and bruising and discoloration on his face. So people have. But the main reason they're focusing more on Amber's is they're trying to prove she lied. Whether or not Johnny had injuries, now it's important to his theme of the case, but it's not technically what the defamation is about. But good question, Monday Love podcast. Thank you, Lori K. This $10 is trying to push us closer to 40K subs, which I think we're getting close. Let me know if anybody sees it. Alita put up a tracker. I'm like so bad at YouTube. I don't know how to put up a tracker. I don't know how to look at that stuff. I don't have a tracker over my shoulder. I wish I did. I wish I was as with it as she was. Maybe I'll learn one day. Sahidin, is Dr. Curry's comments about the unethical approach to using a private therapist's statements and words, since they are supposed to believe and sympathize with their clients, a very important piece of information for the jury? I wouldn't say she called it unethical. I think she was showing how a therapist could potentially be biased. Even though they're a treating doctor, they're biased because they want to help. They want to believe the patient. They want to listen to what the patient says. They take what the patient says at face value. They're not looking at it as critically as a forensic psychologist would, which is why I'm less biased and my opinion is better, and you should listen to my opinion and you should run with it so more celebrities hire me. She didn't say that last part. I added that. But that's, she's trying to battle of the experts. One's got to come out ahead of the other, and they got to look at where they can one-up the other expert. And this, as you pointed out, is one way that she wanted to one-up the other expert. All right, so I'm told I was sent the tracker link. I have no idea how to – I have to sign into this. I don't want to bore you guys, so I'm not going to do it. All right, let's see what else we got. Wow. Lisa, Miss Wilkins, Team Zero, Teresa, Gypsy Doll, Turd Ferguson, Snazzy Trinkets, Dawn, Shanna, Margie, Akisu, Lonnie, Loney, Sahidin, AMG, Thomas. All you guys knew today. That's awesome. This is what's so awesome about these lives. Allie, Bandy, ton of you guys. I can't even keep up with all the ones today. Awesome. Let's keep it rolling. Maybe we will get to 40K before. You know what? If we're within 100, I'm going to stay on here. I'm going to answer your questions and talk about this case till we hit 40K. Don't go unsubscribe, okay? I'll be back tomorrow night. Just for some scheduling, in case anybody's sticking with us kind of through the week, I will be doing a live around 8:15, 8:30 tomorrow night. I'll be taking Thursday night off. I'm playing in the member guest golf tournament at our home course. And then the NFL draft, one of my favorite weekends of the year, starts Thursday night. So I will not be doing one Thursday night, but I will be doing one Friday to recap Thursday's testimony and to kind of recap the week. So we will be doing a live Friday. So Wednesday and Friday, 2 more lives this week to catch. Tons of ones. This is awesome. I was already here. No, I appreciate everybody that's already here. I love all the old subscribers too. 39.8 at 9:31. So we got 200 more to go, it seems like. Been subscribed for months. Yeah, we still love all you guys too. Jeanette. See, now this is where it's at. We can trick the algorithm. We can beat the algorithm by watching on the TV and the iPad. That's awesome. Anna P. What's the burden of proof for AH's team in proving the evidence of physical DV, considering they have images of the result of physical DV? So the burden of proof in the case is preponderance of the evidence. So it's just which one is more believable than the other. But again, she doesn't necessarily, because of how the laws are written, she doesn't necessarily have to prove that there was physical violence or injuries, just that she believed that she was a victim of domestic abuse. Jessica, the cop's description of the scene is set to later discredit Amber's collection of pics of claims of broken items all over the house from Depp. Absolutely. That's why I think it's really important. And again, they're objective, not being paid by either side. Temp, not about BG, but ability to explain to the jury. I don't know what BG means, but ability to explain to the jury. I agree. I think that's important for experts. Albania Nisa, been here since day one. Subscribe from your husband. Boom. I love it. I love the creative minds here. $39.9. We're getting close. Thank you, Mabel. When Johnny wins, can he go back on the Sun? It's UK law. I don't want to guess on that. I would guess no, that this case wouldn't have anything to do with that. So close to 40,000. Yes, we are. $800 to hit 40,000, somebody said. Is that? No, that can't be right. Is 10 mil enough to keep you on retainer? Yeah, I think that's enough. Super duperties. I think we can come to an agreement there. Thank you for the super stickers, Marina. Debbie O said, congrats on 40K. Thank you, Marina. Congrats on 40K. Does that mean we hit it? It says, looks like you hit 40K. You made 40K. That's awesome. Hey, that's fun. Hey, you set goals, people. You set goals and you go make it happen with the help of your friends. Can't do it on your own. It takes a village, right? Mr. RN, what's up? You are back. Amber mimicked JD's clothes and style for 2 weeks, and today she matched her attorney Elaine. Do you think Johnny was abused? Oh, I definitely think Johnny was abused. That's one thing I feel like has come out pretty factually. I think Johnny was abused. Absolutely. Now, was Amber abused? I think depending on your definition, that's something that's up for debate. And did she lie and defame him? Legally speaking, I still think that's kind of up for debate. As I'm swinging Johnny's side, I still have not made my final decision on that, but I have made my final decision. Absolutely, Johnny Depp was abused. I think the evidence has proven that. Anna P., if AH lied to her about the Milani kit and changes her story on the stand, it was similar. Could Johnny Depp's attorney ask what she originally told her attorney? So no, you can't talk about attorney-client privilege. That would be something covered under attorney-client privilege. So no, she couldn't ask that, but you could ask a ton of questions to blow holes through that. I did a whole video on how I would kind of attack that whole Milani makeup issue. Schieberstein. Have we talked about her lawyer objecting to his own question yesterday? I hate making fun of lawyers, okay? I hate making fun of especially trial lawyers because I know how hard it is. I know how stressful it is. And a lot of these lawyers are a little bit, some of the other lawyers seem a little less experienced, that this is kind of their big time. And so I really don't want to rip on him, but man, that was funny. It was like he had marble mouth as he was like, objection, hearsay. It's like, oh, dude, but it was your own question. That was tough. That was tough to see. It was like watching a car crash. Why is it being tried in Virginia? I get this question every video. The Washington Post printer and servers are in Virginia. We are at 40K. Happy 40K. Congrats. My handicap is an 8 right now, Peggy. An 8 and going down. I'm working on the game. I didn't grow up playing golf, so I'm the best I've ever been now. So my handicap hopefully will only get better, which is actually going down, I guess. 40K. Thank you, Temp. Congrats on 40K. Wendy A. Thank you, Michael. I don't think it's that harmful to their case, Franzilla. We'll see. That's fun. I cannot believe it's at 40K. Can't believe there's this many of you that want to come hang out. What happens if Amber can't pay her lawyer? She's broke. They can either quit or try to collect from her. I don't think they're trying for a mistrial, Kathy. I've heard some people ask this question. I really don't think so. Debbie O, thank you so much. Leanne came from Law Nerds. Emily's awesome. And I know that my social media marketer loves Emily. And like, that's the channel that I think she thinks crushes. So that's cool. S. McQueen, Jonathan Hagopian, thank you guys. Peter, fast forward. I know I'm always behind in the chat. Always behind in the chat. Mark, my channel is about being a lawyer, being a trial lawyer. That's what I do. I'm a full-time trial lawyer. I do YouTube stuff for fun. I break down cases that are going to trial, mostly that are criminal or civil, because those are the two areas I practice. And I like to give insight of what's happening now, staying on top of, what's happening in trial work, why lawyers are doing what they're doing, what we think about our clients. And I love getting everybody's opinion in the chat because I consider all of you guys potential jurors that I'm going to have to, pick in jury selection and try cases in front of. So I like to know what you like, what you don't like, what you think, because it helps me sharpen and fine tune my trial skills. So we help each other, we give each other information, and we have a lot of fun. 2018 makeup palette, will that come back up? I definitely think it's going to come up when Amber's on stand. I hope it does. I hope Depp's team doesn't just let it pass. And it was 2017, I think. It's cracking me up. He hasn't even seen 40K yet. Hey, we're here. We made it. Congrats on the 40K. Everybody's awesome. All right, Daring D's Dauntless Detours. It sounds like mules, muffins, and mega pints. Laura, you're at 39.9. Open YouTube Studio app on your phone. It will give you the exact sub count. Helps keep up with comments as well. Thank you. Thank you, LS. Everybody tell me to refresh my page. I don't have my page up anywhere. I'm just looking at all you guys and at my mug. You guys are awesome. Everybody's so nice. No, not RVF, RBF. which has been defined multiple times in the chat. 100K by the end of the trial. I was thinking 50K. If we could get to 50K by the end of the trial, I'd be excited about that. But you guys work your magic. Tell your friends. Tell people to go. Kindness of grace. Yeah, let's get to 50K. The next benchmark. Sonny Bear. They abused each other. So if this is something that's believed on the jury, Johnny Depp probably loses. They probably both lose, to be fair. Beverly, I was going to say, where's Beverly at? I haven't seen any comments from you at all yet so far. I don't know if you had, and I just kind of scrolled past them. But as always, you're the best. Glad you were here for it. The 40K. William, Ben King blew the whole 3-day hostage claim out of the water. Add to that the Dr. Curry testimony as the final nail in the coffin. Her huge pack of lies are exposed to the world. I don't think it's the final nail. Catherine, thank you. Thank you for your click. Ms. Crush, thank you. So many of the chats are congratulations, which is super nice. The fact that, I mean, I didn't really do anything. You guys all went and subscribed, which is awesome. Amnesty Antoinette, thank you for the super sticker. Do you think Elon Musk paid for her attorney? Sue Jess asks. I highly doubt it. But I don't know, man. That guy's got enough money for everything, right? Hopper, doesn't makeup palette have to come up? Aggressive Elaine said Amber would show them how she used it to cover her bruises. Nothing necessarily has to come up. Just because you say it in an opening statement doesn't mean you have to. Now you should, and when you say it, you have to have a reasonable, good faith belief that it's going to come out in trial. If it doesn't, it's not like you're going to be sanctioned. Now, if you do it on purpose and you say, I had this happen to me in a trial one time, where the state attorney knew a witness was not going to show up, told me before trial they don't think they're going to show up, and then in opening statements starts saying what that witness is going to testify to. I jumped up with an objection, went up to the sidebar with the judge and told her absolutely not. The judge looked at the state attorney and said, do you think that witness is going to show up? And the state attorney said, they might, I'm not sure. And they say, unless you have a really good, strong belief they're going to show up, I would shy away from saying it at opening. You can always bring it back in closing. So they were not allowed to talk about that witness. That witness did not show up, and we got a not guilty verdict on that client, on that trial from a client that was wrongfully accused of battery. It came in as ag bat, and we got him off completely. And that was a horrible case, and the victim just totally lied. I had an awesome line from my expert dentist. One of the things he said is when he got punched in the face that he broke all of his teeth, that my client punched him in the face and broke all the victim's teeth. And our dentist doctor did an evaluation of the client and said, absolutely not. His teeth were rotted out. And they said, and the state attorney's question was, as you all have heard in trials, thank you, Star Apple, well, the punch could have broken his teeth, right? And the dentist expert, his answer was classic. He said, ma'am, eating yogurt could break this guy's teeth. That's how bad this guy's teeth were, is eating yogurt, the softest food you could think of, could mess up this guy's teeth. It was hilarious. I mean, it was awesome. It was an awesome trial moment. Nikki, her attorneys are so off-putting to me, and I had to quit watching today. Won't this hurt Amber if the jury feels the same? Absolutely. Absolutely. We are the mouthpiece of our client. There's a reason we say we represent our client. We don't just work for our client. We don't treat our client. We represent our client. So if they hate us as a representation of our client, that is not a good thing. 2K likes too. I feel like that's got to be a record. I have not kept track of that. Sahidin, I don't think Amber Heard's lawyers are bad, but I feel that Johnny Depp has such a strong foundation that they are floundering trying to discredit the witnesses or Johnny Depp that they look weak. What is your opinion on that? I would hesitate strongly to call them bad. I think Elaine is a little too aggressive. I think Rottenborn has improperly impeached too much. I actually think Rottenborn's done some good things, and I think again, Elaine's preparation of the cross on Dr. Curry, I think, was good, and the witness or the questions that she prepared in her impeachment was actually good. But I do think that they're off-putting here and there, and sometimes that's when the pressure is on, sometimes that's what happens. So I don't think that they look weak. Um, and I think they've done a good job on some witnesses. I'm just trying to look at your question again to make sure I answered everything on it. Team Zero. I thought it was weird the finger was in the tissue, though I agree. But there is so much weird going on in this case, and so much that just lets me know I don't understand how these people live, and their life is so different from mine. So I would have kind of gotten over that at the very beginning of this case if I was a juror. I don't know what you guys think. Maybe you guys live life like rock stars like they do. Sunny Bear agreed. Prince Charming's mom. Peter needs merch. We actually do have merch. We will post it either in the chat or we will post it on our page. What we need is updated merch dealing with Johnny Depp. Maybe muffins, mega pints, and mules or something like that on a shirt. We definitely do need more merch, some updated Johnny Depp merch. We will work on it. That's bad teeth. Yeah, very. Susie, thanks for the super sticker. Yeah, Albania and Anissa, we are the face of the client. That is the truth. Do you know who all is going to testify for Amber Heard? Siobhan, I do not. I've seen the witness lists, but just because they're on the witness list does not mean they're going to testify. 40.1K subs. It's wild. Wild. Susie, thank you for the super sticker. I would buy that MMM shirt. What did I miss, DJ? Only about an hour and 20 minutes worth of content. But if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and then back it up and check out the whole video because I want to hear your thoughts on all the questions that I asked. Generic white male merch. Fair. Although I don't think I'm that generic. And I am Greek. And a lot of Greek people don't consider themselves white, they consider themselves Greek. So do with that what you will. Here it is. This is our merch link. Hell yeah, I'll buy that Mega Pint shirt ASAP. Generic white male took me out. Hey, Barbara, thanks for being here, and thank you so much. We're hitting records during this case. Everybody else says, why not? You're still live. Just finished work and have to catch up. Sent an email. Thank you for these lives. Gotta say, lawyers' likability would matter to me and merch. Thank you, Lorraine, for jumping back in. Yeah, we've definitely gone longer than I expected. But like I said, my wife's hanging out with her friends. So my kids are in bed. Let's hang out for a little bit longer. Christos Anesti, I see in here. Alitos Anesti. Generic white male would be classic. Handsome Greek male merch. Be frowned upon to call myself handsome, I think. PJ, I wanted to be a lawyer, wasn't in the cards. LOL, I would have been great. A pit bull and lipstick. Tushar, there's a fine line between clarifying terminology and patronizing the jury. Could you say more on deciding between contesting expert testimonies? I agree with you. And I think that you want to dumb it down, but you don't want to dumb it down too much, right? And the best experts are the one that command the courtroom and people realize, like some surgeons that I work with that are great surgeons and they're so confident. They say the difference between surgeons and God is that God doesn't think he's a surgeon. I think that's I miss one-liners like horribly. So I probably missed that one too. But they've got to command the courtroom. The jury's got to know they know what they're talking about. They don't have to do it by using big words and treatises and trying to sound smart. And once they get the jury like that, explaining it in layman's terms, I think, is the best way to do it and breaking it down. And I actually think Dr. Curry did do a good job of that today. Isn't happy hour anytime? Yogurt teeth shirt for me, please. Gosh, yogurt teeth shirt. That's great. I mean, it's one of my favorite lines in a trial ever. And we won, so that's good. Just me, Mabel. Are you from Tarpon Springs? Shout out from Clearwater. I am from Clearwater, born and raised in Clearwater, and still currently living in Clearwater. Just me, Mabel. I nailed the God Surgeon joke right. Thank you very much, KBC. Keeping me honest. I ate Brussels sprouts. I hate Brussels sprouts. I'm slow. Why doesn't the guy with our GF who sits next to JD ever examine any of the witnesses? He's the guy that did opening, I believe. Did he direct Johnny? I can't remember now. I'm losing track here of this trial. I like how they're using the whole team. They brought in this specific lawyer to direct Dr. Curry. My guess is they've danced before, that they have already done trials together before, and they kind of know how each other works. But yeah, he hasn't done as much as I would have expected. He seems like lead counsel. I think he is lead counsel. Greeks invented legal arguments, Joanna. I love it. I love it. That if I had a vote, that would be on merch. I guess I do have a vote, but that would be on merch. Kenny, assuming Johnny wins, how much do you think the judge will settle on? The judge doesn't make that decision, the jury does. And I think it's going to be somewhere between $1 and $50 million. Honestly, I don't know how they're going to determine that. I think it's been very difficult for them to exactly show what exactly the damages were, because it feels like it's Pirate 6, but maybe not. Is it just Pirate 6? He said emotional damage. I don't feel like they've done a good job putting a number, but I think they're going to ask us for a specific number in closing. And if at that time we're eating out of Johnny's lawyer's hands, maybe we'll just decide as a community here to give them whatever the lawyers ask for. Stella Ford going to Tampa in 2 weeks. Tampa's the best. Are you descended from the Greek sponge divers? Sure. Thank you, Shannon. Mega muffins. I'm sorry, muffins, mega pints, and mason jars. Lauren, how do you think they will prove defamation by 1, prove Amber lied about abuse, or 2, prove Amber was an abuser? AKA, if someone's abuser, they can't claim to be an abused victim. I think number 1. I don't think number 2 actually proves it. I think you can be an abuser and a victim. Now, just like you're saying, Lauren, if you're on the jury, maybe you disagree, and maybe a juror like you, number 2, would prove the point. I would need them to prove that she lied, or really that what I think they're kind of setting up as their theme is this was her MO to create this fake story and do this stuff for her benefit. That's really what I think it is. I don't think so. My 4 girls, I don't think this case is similar to Cardi B and Tasha K because they admitted that they knew it was a lie and still promoted it and still did it. Cocoa Beach native here, Sarah Shamlin. East Coast is the best coast. There's a reason that doesn't rhyme, Sarah. I hate to say it, but the West Coast is the best coast, clearly. That's awesome. People in Florida, high likelihood we could run into each other one day. All right. Hour and a half. I think we hit another record because I think this is my longest live ever. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in the live. It was a ton of fun. Again, catch me here tomorrow night, right around the same time. I would love for everybody to be here again. Let's break some more records, bring some more friends, bring some new subscribers and some more likes. If you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button on the way out. Merch purchase complete. So this is happening as we speak. That's awesome. Joanna, went by fast. I agree. It went by fast to me too. I'm not in Naples. Oops. I'm trying to find the Scott. I am not in Naples. I'm in Clearwater, close to Naples. I have a lot of cases in Naples. I love Naples. But But yeah, thank you guys so much. You were awesome. This was a lot of fun, as always. Tomorrow night, right around the same time, be here so we can talk more about what happens in court tomorrow. You can catch me on Legal Bites live stream at some point throughout the day. If you haven't found her channel out, go check it out. I'm sure you all have because she has all the subscribers now. All right, hold on here. Diane just threw a super chat at me. I want to read before I go. This will be the last question, so let's take this one on the way out. Completely different topic. I found your channel when you did a quick video about the condo collapse in Surfside. I am curious if you have heard or seen anything more about that case and its implications into the future. So what I have heard is that there's a lot of discovery going on. And I actually, when I was in Tallahassee as part of the FJA, the Florida Justice Association, the statewide personal injury lawyers, we were arguing about the sovereign immunity caps and how that's a problem in Florida. It's 200 per person, 300 per injury or per incident. So that hurts cases like this Surfside collapse. Discovery was ongoing, the damages were astronomical, and that cap is really going to hurt a lot of the victims in that case. That's the last I know about it, straight from Tallahassee. The damages are going to be astronomical. We knew that. Discovery is ongoing. That's the last I've heard. Thank you for the super chat. And thank you, everybody, for jumping in and joining. This was awesome. Come back again tomorrow. You guys are the best.